Hi, I'm Carol Jurgensen Sheets, aka Carol the Coach. And if you've discovered my YouTube, you know that I believe that you can thrive and become the person you want to be. But sometimes that deals with doing some internal work. And when you do internal work, you actually build your sense of two things: conviction and confidence. Now, I'm going to be talking to you today about how do you do that. That means you got to do the work. So if you don't have a pen and paper around, you're going to have to listen to this YouTube again and follow my homework. Because what I believe to be true is that if you're suffering from not actualizing your potential, you can change that this very minute. But that may mean understanding your strengths, the things that are deep within you that will take you where you need to go. Now, anybody who's ever worked with me knows that one of my number one goals that I set for you is to come up with 50 things that you like about yourself. They're personality adjectives. They are words that describe who you are. They may look like confident, loyal, generous, loving, hardworking, tenacious, persistent, sexual, sensual, passionate, spiritual. You get the gist. So I want you to write down 50 things you like about yourself and keep them close. Put them on your screensaver. I know that would be embarrassing, wouldn't it? If all these words start floating around that you are. Put them on the inside of your medicine cabinet so that you see them every day. Put them on the inside of your visor. We need to be reminded of our brilliance, and we are all brilliant. There's not one person that is more brilliant than another. There are people that are more confident. All right. I say that because at one point I was pitching a television show, and I got feedback, and the feedback was to another producer, that is, she's not pretty enough. She doesn't have enough sex appeal. Well, what I know is I've got a lot of other things that should have made up for that. I'm sorry that person was so narrow-minded, he couldn't see who I was. That little bit of feedback gave me the courage to pursue radio. And I got a couple of radio gigs, and it gave me even more confidence. And now I'm doing YouTubes, and I got a couple of podcasts. And I have one podcast where I have over 600,000 open downloads. Okay, so I'm not on channel 8 or 13, but I know that I can contribute and make a difference in other people's lives, hopefully yours. Okay, so know your personality strengths. The second thing that I want you to know is that oftentimes when we have negative thinking, we have to stop ourselves and rethink that thought and then make a positive affirmation. And if you've seen my other podcasts, you know that I believe in a realistic affirmation. And that might look like, even though I don't feel like I have enough confidence, what I know to be true is that I am a wonderful person who has a lot of gifts inside of me. Or, even though I doubt myself, I know I can make a difference in the lives of others. Or, even though I melt down with my children, I know I can instill the right values in them. Even though I'm not sure I make the best manager at work, I believe I can acquire the skills to take my life to the next level. So you see that affirmation is twofold. It acknowledges a fear, a belief, a core issue, and it also acknowledges the potential deep down inside of you. And that's what I want you to know. So you got to practice it. It just doesn't happen. You have to make it happen. You have to do it daily. You've heard me say it before. We have 60,000 negative thoughts, and most of them are negative. Not necessarily I hate myself thoughts, but things like I'm going to be late, I may not do that right, this wasn't as good as it should have been, I'm a failure, that kind of thing. So flip it around. When you hear that thought, then say, even though I feel like a failure, what I know is I've accomplished a lot of things. Even though I was late today, I know I can create a structure that gets me to work early. Even though I yell at the kids, I know that I can spend 5 minutes a day instilling in them their own brilliance, their own accomplishments, my love for them. So you get the point. Know your strengths, that's number one. Use positive self-talk by acknowledging the reality and what you believe you can accomplish. And then if you can, find some encouraging people that can make a difference in your life. Don't hang with the critical, negative people. We need people that say, wow, what you created was amazing. Man, that dinner was delicious. Those kinds of statements to remind you that you have much to give. You know, on my Carol the Coach website, I have this book. It's a shortcut manual, and it's called Finding Your God-Given Gifts. Finding your God-given gifts means that we all have the same capability to prove to ourselves, to our higher power, and to our loved ones that we matter. And finding those passions that make us feel good, that produce dopamine in the brain, that take us to the next challenge, is what life's all about. Some people do that through AA or NA. Some people do that by being Girl Scout or Boy Scout leaders. Some people do that by being on boards in their neighborhood. Putting yourself in positions of power really can help you to know what your self-worth is, as long as you're working on that first goal, and that is to know your own individual strengths. I'm Carol Jurgensen Sheets, aka Carol the Coach, and what I believe to be true is that you are brilliant beyond measure, just like Marianne Williamson says, and you can access your power if you work on it daily. One day, you'll realize, I got this. I'm acting as if, and it's happening. And you'll know it inside. And that's really what counts. So as I say at the end of every YouTube, you know, there will only be one of you at all times. Fearlessly have the courage to be yourself. Make it a great week.